Hey! Ow! Yeah. How's it going?
We do these every 2 weeks. This
Yeah,
is
and
not,
it's been 2 weeks since the last one, obviously.
I don't think it was. Are we upset that CM Punk was fired? Is that why we're here?
Oh my god. I'm upset that he wasn't fired months ago.
Are we upset that the Smash Mouth guy died and we need to talk about it because the world did roll him, and we need to address that.
I didn't even know that happened. Honestly, the week that I've had since our last one, it feels like it's been two
You
weeks.
feel like it's been 2 weeks? I feel it.
I
Well,
did see Jimmy Buffett passed, and that made me sad.
he did.
Because the world got less chill.
Right. There is one less cheeseburger in paradise because
Yep.
someone already claimed it.
Yep, he got it.
But I guess we're gonna level up an extra time this month, which is
Let's
cool.
do it. You know what? Let's level up again.
Let's do it. I feel like
What?
we need a few more people go. What?
What?
Now, can you add more what's to the intro tone?
Yeah, you just hear me. What?
What?
Yeah.
So, very few people can call in favors to be on this show. Like,
Yeah.
it's probably 5 people total.
That can call in favors and it works on both of us.
Yeah, right. That can call in and get it on a short notice.
Yeah.
Like, very few people. And people ask me to be on this show all the time, by the way.
Me too.
In fact, someone asked me earlier, they gave me 2 names, and one of them we may, and they're like, can you get both these guys on the show? I was like, I know who that guy is. I don't know the other one. And then they shows me the list. I was like, yeah, I don't know that guy. So, like, how else will you get to know him with stuff? I was like, that's not what we do. Like we actually have to be fans of the work.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work otherwise.
And do you know who I'm a huge fan of?
No.
David Byrne.
Oh, yeah. Insert talking heads joke here. It seems
I was gonna do it.
it just
but I
seems
feel like
too obvious.
it feels disrespectful.
See, David Byrne's cool. You know who I like even more than David Byrne? David A. Byrne.
David A. Byrne.
He's even.
Let's have him come on and let's talk.
You know what? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
One of the on the very short list of people to counter, to be on the opposite week that we do this.
Right. Who can get on the show and we'll make a show for them.
Yeah.
Schedule it and plan it.
Well, let's talk to one of our favorite creators.
All right.
Boom.
What? What? Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Yes. Yeah. It's just what's.
What?
All day. All day.
It's what's all the way down. Hey, David.
Hi.
You're coming from like a monotone background.
Is it
Yeah,
bad?
where's the big
I like it.
or you always have something behind you and it's not there.
Give it a minute. The cats will probably start screaming.
Fair enough. For those watching on YouTube, please share this and talk to us and let us know that you're here because we miss you. We want to know you're here.
Or don't. I like to lurk. So I have no judgments.
YouTube, you do you. You do you.
Yep. I take in a lot of content and don't interact with it. So
Right.
yeah.
So
But hi everybody.
hi.
Hi, everybody.
So David, be honest with me, because you're my personal friend. You're Todd's personal friend.
Personal friend.
Have you ever watched our goddamn show? And it's okay to say no.
Yes.
Okay.
The first one.
It was Charlie.
Oh,
Of
with
course you
Charlie.
watch
Yeah.
Charlie. Everyone watches
Yeah.
Charlie.
To be
Charlie.
fair, you post with the link, so I don't even know they're happening because of
post with-
algorithms on Facebook.
Link in the comments, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I don't see them. How am I supposed to know what's happening?
I hear
I don't even. I'm never on Facebook. So I don't even know what you're talking about. So that's cool. I'm confused.
And I don't know really how to use X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, me either. I do my best.
How long is it going to stay that way? Formerly Twitter.
I don't know. It's a rough scene, man.
So X is going to give it to you, but like,
X gonna give it to you. Nice.
if X is a mathematical equation, X can really be anything. It could be
true.
Santa's going to give it to you. Todd's going to give it to you. David's going to give it to you. Who's going to give it to you? Like, if X is an equation instead of a statement.
Well, it's not going to be DMX anymore.
Not anymore,
Not anymore.
man. But you know who? You know what?
That's 3 dead people.
It's 3 dead people.
Right.
You know who? You know what David is gonna give to you?
Oh, I'm
Comic
interested.
books.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on. I didn't know that DMX was dead. Hold on.
Yeah, he had a heart
Dead
attack.
for a bit. Oh, all right.
It's been a minute. That's why I went. Oh,
I thought he was like on this recent trend of dead people. I was like, him and Jimmy Buffett were hanging out and just like,
you are correct, sir.
we out, bros.
Yeah, they pieced out together.
Yep, that's beautiful.
They were both hanging out at the same club.
Yeah, Bob Barker was just like, "What up, fellas?"
That's a party I'd like to go to. Bob Barker,
Right?
DMX, and Jimmy Buffett.
That's amazing. That's a one of those like, who do you want to have a dinner with thing. That's an amazing trio.
Do you feel that the lead singer of Smash Mouth would have been invited to that party?
Oh.
He might have been at a table in the back.
He's their waiter.
Oh,
Ouch.
Well,
it is sad though.
it is sad. It's always sad.
It is sad. Like, Shrek would not be the same without that song.
Well,
I don't know.
Shrek would have.
Yeah,
That song's very important to Shrek.
the summer that Walking on the Sun came out wouldn't have been the same though.
That is true. Hello. Too soon. It is too soon.
It is too soon. It
You're
is.
right. We should leave DMX alone.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your comics.
Yeah,
is that what we're gonna do?
I'm right here actively trying to get canceled. Can't you tell?
So you started out with The Couch. The Couch was the comic, and I remember The Couch because we were at Daytona Beach Comic Con, and you had the couch out, and I was super jealous of you because between the two of us, you got one sale and I got zero, and that person got super excited that you were there. So I was just like, dude, it's one sale, but this dude like went far to see him. Little did I know that David lived in Daytona, so it really wasn't that much of a trek. And it was just, somebody in the neighborhood who knew David.
Yes, and in all fairness to both of us, we were in the lobby of a small room that was not even in the main exhibit hall
Right.
at a university.
Oh man. What a combo.
Yeah,
Yes.
It was not a good show. But David and I got to know each other pretty well because there was nobody else to talk to.
Yes. Yes, it was
That's
a good time.
nice.
Yes.
It's good.
I that's how I've met some people at cons back when I was doing my con runs of things. Just your booth buddies
Right.
and stuff. You're just like, you're the people around that don't want to talk necessarily about exactly what you're doing, and I don't need to sell to you. So it's like, hi friend.
Yeah, and then fast forward 5 years later, and at San Diego, I'm doing the same thing, but it's with Ben Templesmith. How times have changed, huh, Travis?
Times have changed. But Ben Templesmith, I still do not have his phone number, nor have I had him do a cover for me. And I know many friends who get that friends rate. I am not on the list of people who Ben Templesmith gives said friend rate to. That's
Just
the worst thing about comics, David. Don't you agree? Like when people can go, "Oh, I got a friend with him," like it just makes you, it just hurts you.
yes, yes, I know. Straight to your core.
It's right to my core.
So
So
where did the couch come from? And for those, you want to explain what the couch is?
The couch is about a down and out therapist who accidentally becomes the psychiatrist to superheroes. It was just one of those things where I had been writing novels and screenplays, and I'm sitting there going, man, this would make a much better comic than either one of those. So that was it. That was my first comic. We did 4 issues over about a year. Kickstarted a couple of them, and it's been on a bit of a hiatus since I did Steak.
Sure.
But it was my first love in my comic creating world.
Do you think you'll come back to it then?
Maybe we did a full arc, but it's more of a kicking off what could be.
Sure.
So there's plenty of story left to tell.
It's a fun concept.
Yeah,
There's a lot to be done there for sure.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's how much bandwidth and time do I have to actually do things?
Sure. How was finding because if that was your first comic, that was your first time finding artists, letterers, all of that. How did that process work for you? That first go around, going from if you're screenwriting and novels, you're just worried about what you're doing,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you're putting together a thing that is ready to be like distributed.
Yeah, so the only person I knew in the comic industry was Paulo Rivera, and so he was too busy to do anything for me, and come to find out, because we never talked about price or anything, he would have been way out of my price range, especially
Sure.
for my first comic.
Yeah.
Because we actually went to high school together, so it's like I just kinda
nice.
was like, hey, I wrote a comic. You want to read it and then draw for me? He's like, I have a commission list that's 3 years long, and I'm doing stuff for Marvel, and not Marvel Comics, Marvel, the MCU posters and stuff like that. I was like, all right, so I might see it in New York, but
Yeah.
and then so I had an audiobook done for my novel, and I knew the guy who did the narration for it was actually like in the artist community. It's like, hey, just on the off chance, do you happen to know any comic artists? Oh, well, my brother is one. So I was like, well, all right then. And I talked to his brother Matt, and basically he gave me a rate where he would draw, color, and letter. So all in one.
Nice.
First book, he just did everything. So,
That's cool.
Yep, and he told me my scripts were very detailed and that he didn't have to think about anything. So I was
Nice.
like, well, all right then.
Just go on
So
autopilot.
Yep. So I kept doing it that way, and no artists have ever complained. But from what I see from other people's scripts, I am way more detailed than most people.
Like, are you describing each panel and like what is there, and you're like,
Yeah.
just covering this is what is seen.
Yeah. No.
Nice.
It's
For
like
each one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a panel size. So I mean, if you have my legend to what each panel size means, and you have a page written out in front of you,
you're set.
You should be able to know what that page is going to look like. And then I say, if you sometimes you want to have like panels bleed into each other, and I tell artists, do their thing. This is what I see. If you think you can do it better, feel free to present it in the layouts, and we'll go from there. And sometimes they do. Like sometimes Francesca for Steak will say, I think we should really do this here. I'm like, go for it. I mean, I gave you a blueprint and a groundworks. If you think this will be better, you're probably right, because you're the artist.
Yeah. Nice.
But coming from writing screenplays and stuff like that, you're not supposed to direct in a screenplay, but you're still doing it in your head. So I've always kind of had that, visual thought process when writing. So I'm doing the flow from panel to panel. I'm already thinking about it visually, which you have to do.
So you just write it down as you think about it.
Yes. And
Instead
then
of
Yep. And then sometimes, like I've got one for a project Hospice where I described it somewhat, but then I also said, have fun with this. This is what I'm thinking, but you're probably going to know better. So go for it.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and
Like a
sometimes
rough,
artists like that.
yeah. Either it's a rough draft or it's a blueprint, whatever way
Mm-hmm.
makes the most sense for it. Nice.
Yep.
That's cool. But that's convenient for the first go around. Like getting to kick off that way without having to do the pass around and all of that.
Yeah.
Yep, because
Nice.
then usually they come back with the layouts, and it's like, yep, that's pretty much what I had in my head.
Nice.
Except with, and I've told this story before, when you're working with foreign artists who English is
Sure.
not their first language, and you use idioms,
Yeah.
like flipping the bird, and Francesca draws a picture of Angel and Steak throwing a bird at
Yeah.
at a window, and I'm like, while this looks great, this is not exactly what we were looking for.
Flipping the bird.
You know, but sometimes that works out into your favor. So recently I wrote a script and I wanted a fire iron. And I described the fireplace and I just said, and I put fire iron in the script, but they didn't understand what I meant. So they literally put a iron, like iron washboard iron on fire.
I love it.
So then I was like, no, that's wrong. And then I had to redraw it. Like this, we're still in the sketching stage. And then I was like, you know what? I really kind of like the fire.
Now you just want the fire iron.
You know, then I can do little Home Alone homage and like do the whole thing and like.
How did the iron get on fire?
From the fireplace. You know, the fireplace is still involved.
Oh, okay, that's right. I guess you used to have to heat the iron in the fire
Right.
to do it close.
But so sometimes that can happen, and I happy accidents, I guess.
I mean, if somebody hated me so much that they flipped a bird at me, that's I take way more offense to that than somebody just giving me the middle finger. If somebody throws a chicken at me, I'm like, what the fuck?
But is it like a dead bird, or I mean, is it?
Either one's just effort and a waste that you're using. So it's just like, wow, you really don't like me, man. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be pretty offended if someone threw like a dead pigeon at me.
Yeah. Like it just comes into your car.
Oh, now it's coming in the car.
Yeah. Because you get flipped off the most on the road.
It's true.
That's when the most bird flipping happens. Everybody, you know that one road rager who has like 20 pigeons in their back seat ready to get thrown out of the door.
Box full of dead pigeons.
Yeah.
Not a year goes by. Not a year where I don't hear about some pigeon thrower.
Yeah. They cut you off and then throw a pigeon behind them. That's a rough scene.
I'm going to be on the lookout for that now, actually.
You should be.
So the couch. Going
What?
back
What?
to
The pigeon?
the couch.
Oh, the couch.
Going back to the couch. The couch, for me, as someone who knows you, like it's a definitely an aspect of your personality. You know, you're a huge Futurama fan, you're a huge Simpsons fan, and it's reflected very much in that book. How do you transition that to what I believe is your next? The next thing was Steak, or was it Spy Deer Man? Which one was?
Steak was next.
Steak was next. So how do you go from one to the other?
Well, obviously, if you read Steak, there's still that element of humor with her attitude.
Sure.
So it's just not like I've tried to write serious things, and everything I write still has that a little bit of humor regardless. I just can't shake it. So, and I think that's because those shows that you mentioned raised me.
Right.
So, but it's you kind of wanted to do a badass female character too, and I know it's technically because it's vampires, it's horror, but I don't really so much look at it like that because there's some procedural crime solving. You know, it's more of a bit of everything. I don't think it falls into a single genre. And that's kind
And
of
it depends.
I do in general.
Especially Steak, OG Steak is definitely more procedural with but then it's the backdrop of it is supernatural for sure.
Except that they're
Obviously.
not.
But they're not. But it's supernatural for us.
Yeah. Because it's not real, I guess.
Yeah, it's supernatural.
He's got you there. What are you gonna do?
I guess I give up.
All right, bye. Well, that was a good one.
Thanks, guys.
but it's not. But it is. So steak was your first, array into the direct market. So you went directly from like Kickstarter with Couch, and then into the direct market with
Mhm.
Scout. And you became. What was your first job at Scout before publisher?
I was just helping Jim Pruitt with design on books
Okay.
and production. And then I transitioned to basically heading that department for a little bit. And I brought Joel on, who eventually succeeded me as being the head of production when Charlie and I took over as co-publishers. And that was all within about a year. And then I spent 2 years with Charlie doing the publishing there,
Yeah.
which
So
saw between the two of us 13 issues of our 2 books.
nice.
Yep.
Nice.
That's
Well,
cool.
and a bunch of books.
I
Not
mean,
even from that made it to print, and from
yeah,
submission to the whole thing.
yeah. I think it was hundreds of issues that sent to print while I was there.
Yeah.
So what was the process going from? So you made the couch, like Travis said, Kickstarter. You reached out to your your audiobook narrator and got his brother
Yes.
as your artist, colors, letter, everything. And then you're going to Kickstarter, and then all of a sudden you're doing Stake with a team and going direct to market. What was that transition like? What were like? Did you learn? I'm assuming you learned a ton between those 2 different projects. What was the starkest difference between those, and like what was that like?
Well, it was literally having the one person do it all versus most people don't know. Francesca was like the 5th artist for Stake because I had
That
I
worked out.
got people. Yeah, no, I mean I got people on who they loved the script, they were excited, and then as we all know, sometimes artists just they flake. I got some character designs out of someone, and a week would go by, 2 weeks would go by. Hey, you gonna start working on layouts? Yeah, I'll get there. And then, next thing you know, it's 3 months and you've got nothing. It's like, okay. So then I worked with Luis Bernardino, who did the original issue number 1 of Stake that we kickstarted, had a completely different artist, and I lettered it. And at least the first couple pages, and then I met Joel, and he's like, I'll letter that for you. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't want to really do a 26-page comic.
Yeah.
But Luis he took a really long time, and in the meantime, I had booked Francesca to do the spinoff Jessamy.
Mm-hmm.
So she drew Jessamy number 1 before she drew Stake number 1.
Oh man.
As a complete redraw, because when it looked like it wasn't going to work out with Luis, I messaged her and I was like, man, I'm going to have to find a new artist for the main series. And she's like, I'll do it. And I was like, well, okay, then because we're going with a new artist and I love what you did on Jessamy, we're just going to start over. I'm going to just pay you to redraw number 1, because why start with a completely different art palette for 1 versus 2?
Right after the first one would be
Yeah.
It would be something people would notice and talk about. It would be a thing.
Right. Now, if you did a 0 issue or something,
Sure.
and said, oh, this was, your backstory.
Yeah.
And that's why the art's different. But no, it didn't. That wasn't going to work out. So
Yeah.
it did make that first issue relatively easy for her, where I was like, you don't even have to think about it at all. Literally, the pages are already drawn.
Here you go.
Just do this, but in your style. But I did like the first 10, 11 pages, I had spent a ton of time going back and forth with Luis on layouts and everything. And I said, do these pages exactly the same. But after that, if you want to change anything, go for it. And she did. She did like subtle little changes. A lot of them, a lot of stuff she kept the same. But the biggest thing, and you've seen her work, she is so good with faces and expressions that just, that takes everything she does to the next level.
Steak, especially, I remember when it first came out, because I don't know if I knew you when I read Steak 1 the first time.
I think when number 1 came out, that was when I met you guys, and we got you an advance copy.
Okay. So I had read it right before I met you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I had no bias whatsoever. And I remember being like, oh, okay, vampire, sweet. And I very much remember the faces and that art and then like the story and it all like, it really was like, I don't want to say transformative, but it was like gripping and in like a really fun way. And it was like the perfect time for like that book to come out, and especially compared to like what I was reading around it. And I was just like, what is this? Like, what is this company? What is this book? Who is this person? Who is this artist? Like it was a lot of different things, and it is especially unique, and I really love it. It's really great.
I have people annoyed at me that I was doing Jessamy for the last year.
That honestly, it's rough to not get more steak, but I do love Jessamy, and I think that story rounded off wonderfully, and it's a great few issues. And once steak comes back, it'll be really nice to also have that. Like, it'll be really cool to have that whole world more rounded.
Yeah, it'll be early next year that she hopefully has the first issue done. So she's got the script, but has other projects going on.
The next trade done, right? That's what you just said, right?
Yeah, Jessamy trade will be.
Oh, the Jessamy trade. Dang it! I should have been more specific.
Nice
Sweet,
try.
Nice. That's cool.
So what is it? You're in such a unique spot in your profession versus a lot of people, because you not only did you get to be fully on the marketing team, to put Stoke up because you were working at Scout, you will also get to see the numbers and the response from the retailers, and you got to see all that, where a lot of us don't see that, right? We put our books off, and somebody at some point will message you, and I don't care what publisher you work, somebody will call you and go, oh yeah, your book did really well, or it did really poorly, and that's the end of your conversation, versus you getting like, oh, we like this kind of cover, we got that. How do you think that helped you be able to market steak, and even marketing Jessamy when you went on back to Kickstarter, for the steak spinoff? Did you feel that affected you? Do you feel it really had no impact, or do you feel that you kind of had a leg up versus other people in the market while doing that?
Really what it did was showed me how stark the difference is in the direct market and crowdfunding. Because your customer in the direct market is shops, and the end users are faceless to you. Because as much as we'd like to think that they're going to reach out and tell us how much they love it, or they're going to post about it, very few do. So if you have 1,000 or 10,000 of your book hitting the shelves, the odds that you're going to hear from more than 5 to 10 people is it's very slim. You got it. If you want to sell a direct market book, you got to actually get into the shops. You got to beat the streets and talk to shop owners, or at least the person who's buying. Because with the collective, we didn't talk to Brendan, we talked to Danny.
Right, sure.
And Danny was ordering indie books. Crowdfunding, you're touching your actual audience. So, and I mean that figuratively.
I do not remember. I don't remember that pledge level.
I mean, I can add it if people really want it now.
There's a price for everything.
You do have to sign a consent form.
And travel's not on you.
Yeah, no, you have to show up here.
See,
neutral.
That's
neutral
a little
ground.
funny with a book called Canceled that you make them sign a consent.
It's pretty
form.
good.
I mean, you should,
Yep, it's like the name tag that I was giving out to pre-launch backers is, "Hello, my name is blank, and I've been canceled." So
Yeah.
really, they all just say David because I'm the one getting canceled here.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question, Travis? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
About the touching people.
Yes. If you want to succeed, you have to touch people.
It's hard to touch people in the direct market.
It is. It's hard to touch nameless, faceless people.
Yes, it is. I try constantly.
So after you did Steak, you went directly into. Was it in the middle of Steak, or once Steak ended when we started Jessamy?
Well,
Well,
Like the Kickstarter, not the like production.
so Jessamy 1, the Kickstarter happened before Stake hit the direct market.
Okay.
And then after issues 1 through 6 came out, we did Jessamy 2. And then about a year later, we did Jessamy 3. And now we're a year later, and here we are.
look at those pretty covers.
Yes.
My goodness.
If the first one was Francesca, the one that's still on the screen, and the other one was rising star Karen Darbo.
So good.
Who helped create Blade's daughter.
So good. Oh, yeah. I don't have that cover, and it's a problem now.
So what is it like to have the two fan bases? And as someone who's done conventions with you, I've seen your two fan bases, where I've seen the retailers come and hey, can we get some stuff so we can do like whatnot sale or after hours shot? And I've seen the like mega fans who are like, oh, I don't have that cover, I need that cover. Do you have anything graded? I've seen both, and then I've seen the people who like who've been direct market fans who found you on the floor and find out that Jessamy is a thing and blows their fucking mind that they can get books and do that. So how does that work? Like compartmentalizing those fan bases, trying to figure out what am I trying to ask here? The exact question, because I see
how do you give attention to both and still be one person?
That's not the question. No, like
how do you touch so many people?
It's schizophrenia. I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
As someone who has one product and you're building it and you have to have all these different hats on for that, do you find that to be a struggle? Do you find that you have to lean into one versus the other for success? Because obviously a Kickstarter person is going to invest $20 into your comic book versus the direct market guy who's probably going to invest $5. I know they're all the same fans, but one of them helps the bottom line a lot better. So what does that look like to you as you build this fan base, as you're building it in many facets all at the same time? And try not to. And at the same time, you were running a publishing company. So in between that, people would be like, "Fuck all your shit here. Let's talk about my submission."
Yeah, exactly.
like, what is up? And by the way, I'm going to give a tip for David. If you want someone to talk to you about the book that you submitted to them, you should probably buy a book from them. They like you a little bit more. It's a quick way to get them to like you.
So what is your actual question? Because you went all over.
I don't know. Fucking answer.
Hey David. Hey David. How do you have it all?
How do you?
Yeah. How do you eat your cake and have it too?
Yeah. No. So I think to answer Travis' question, how do you deal with the different segments at the same time?
Yeah.
And basically, you have to have multiple pitches, which most people who have multiple books do have the multiple pitches already. But you have to consider your audience at the time. And Travis, you've seen my table. There will be the things laid out across the front that are for readers. Then we'll have a display with like the variants and things like that. And then if a retailer comes up and they want multiple copies, I've usually got a box under the table.
Here you go.
that we can talk about. And that's basically, like I said, you just have to be ready to switch your hats based on who you're talking about, because the pitch is different. Retailer comes up, they probably already know you. What do you have this time that I haven't seen before? Mm-hmm. Hang on, let me pull it out. I'll show you what I've got. There's another one. You got a lot of sound drops.
It's a lot of, man. If we're making shorts, it's just innuendo for a short for this one. I was just segueing to that.
Hit the button.
We don't. I love if anybody who watches has questions for. I was gonna say David, but really Travis. And for some reason, if you have a question for me that I could answer, also sure. But this one is particularly good for both of you. What are you seeing right now that writers could be doing better, particularly on Kickstarter? As both of you are vets in that realm, what do you see? What are just some big pitfalls that you see could be addressed pretty easily?
Travis, you want to go first, or you want me to?
Wear many hats.
You wear many hats.
Well, if you're
so,
crowdfunding, you have to
probably-
wear a ton of hats, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but for right now on Kickstarter, I'd say temper your expectations because there is so much out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say the direct market has collapsed, but for indies, it's really bad right now, and a lot of creators are turning to crowdfunding.
It's consolidated a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but you just have to work even harder. You have to post a ton and try to break through the algorithm that wants you to not post.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not 2020. Like
Money is tight.
Yeah. Money is tighter, and there's so much on Kickstarter now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's some high quality stuff. I have had to like not back more than I've ever not backed while still backing about the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a tough scene.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to make just money, then just put boobs on your covers.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of my answer. Like as a writer,
it is like most of the Kickstarter recommendations.
as a writer right now, you have to really decide: is the story that you want to tell are you gonna do it regardless, right? Because if this story is not super important to you, buck the trends, man. Like go to the trends. They seem to be making tons of money. Figure out the 4 or 5 trends. It's not hard. Like you can ask, Charlie, myself, David, anybody who's there. We can tell you the 5 trends. Mix 2 or 3 of them together, make a book, and you're going to get money. But if you're looking for long-term success in comics, because I don't think trends ever get long-term success in comics. I don't think Walking Dead, there was no zombie books forever, and then Walking Dead came out and said, not only am I going to do Walking Dead, I'm going to do it black and white because fuck you. And me running a comic store said, yeah, fuck you. I'm not buying that shit. It's a black and white.
You fool.
You
fool.
And it does. So
yeah, it did okay.
It did
I don't know
okay.
why you use that as an example. It did okay.
Yeah.
You're right. I'll use something better.
Because people don't know what they want, Travis.
Yeah. Invaders. Yeah. It's always done really well.
Invaders.
Invaders is a money title. Every time it comes out,
you get it.
Big money.
Yep.
And you just don't want to put Invaders out all the time because you'll just be flooded with
can't. Yeah, exactly. You can only have so much money.
So you save the Invaders for every couple of years to let people know exactly where Invaders fits in the hierarchy of Marvel Comics.
Yep. And then when you're feeling generous, you do a Walking Dead.
Right.
But no, I would say the thing that has always been true and probably will never change is for crowdfunding, you have to be building your audience. You have to be accessible, and you have to be gracious. I mean, that's the only way you're going to have sustained success. And building a particular brand, because, I mean, you can see Canceled has about 20% of the amount of backers as Stake usually does. It's a new
because it's a different audience.
Exactly. So audience from one title might not necessarily transition to the next one. You can even see that with Charlie's books. His White Ash to the game. The game has a lot of backers, but it has nowhere near as many as
it's
the
not
White
the
Ash
same
series.
No. Which makes sense. But how long has he been working on the audience for White Ash?
Exactly.
I mean,
yep. And you can't get discouraged. What you want is every time you put a new title out in the same series,
a little bit more.
Exactly. And with you mentioned it before, it's not 2020 anymore. The economy's tighter, the wallets are tighter. But if you see a growth in your backer number, that means that your audience is growing. If money loosens up again, those people are going to turn their
you know what? Yeah. Maybe I'll go up to this pledge level.
Right.
And
their $5 pledge is all of a sudden a $20 pledge or a $50 pledge. I had people after the $600 from the government dried up, they were like, I really wish I could back for a higher tier, but this is all I can afford right now. But we're here to support you.
Yeah.
And so many people Neverland for me said, hey, I can only afford a digital right now. Are you having a backer kit? I just want to make sure I get that backer kit email. So I'm going to spend the minimum I can to get that email so I can buy it at a later date. Those things happen. And I think that's important. But yeah, let's transition into Canceled. So Canceled was a Black Caravan book, and Black Caravan, Todd and I have made it very
Spider-Man?
clear.
Sorry.
We can go Spider-Man. Yeah.
I don't want.
You got a
Yeah, I
you got a
got
graphic?
it ready and everything.
I didn't know you had a graphic.
Of course,
for it.
I got a graphic for it.
Let's talk about Spy Deer Man, the unsung hero of the Win universe.
Yeah, exactly. Let's give this buck his due.
Let's give this buckets due.
That one is just it's a stupid fun book. Basically, what if Bambi grew up to be James Bond?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't that happen, right?
Exactly. The logical progression to the Bambi universe.
Exactly.
A lot of people have been asking that.
The
question
BU.
for years. I addressed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's so stupid the way it even came around, because I used to own a shop and we were doing the weekly poll, and someone was reading off titles, and the other person's handwriting was so bad. He's like, "You spelled this Spider Man."
Oh, Spider-Man.
For Spider-Man.
Hilarious.
And like, I'm just standing there, and he said it like 3 times in a row, because he was like, "This sounds so stupid." And I was like, "Do you not hear what you're saying?" I'm like, "You're saying Spider-Man. How is this not a thing?" And so Matt, who drew it, I literally texted him just the words Spider-Man, and then I sent him a paragraph describing the character, and he was like, "I didn't need that." He's like, and he sent me back a rough sketch like within 5 minutes, and I was like, this is a thing. This has to be a thing. It's so stupid. You can do all the pun names for the women.
Yep.
You know? The villain in the first one is Totes McGoats, who,
of course,
he steals a ray that for some reason people created that turns people into sheeple.
Sure.
So he's going.
Like you do.
Yeah.
He just wants to go around the world turning everyone into sheep.
Of course.
And then I haven't revealed how he reverses it, but that's basically it's a single graphic novel, and we've got the stupid Bond title that almost makes no sense to go with it. And yeah, he's got the cars, the gadgets, the team, and it's I think it's just a lot of fun. It's one of those, again, like bandwidth. If I had more bandwidth, I would have written it already. I've got it all laid out. I've got like 50 of 80 pages written.
Nice. Someday,
yes.
Someday.
Well, I'm excited because I didn't know the Spider-Man reference, because I don't know you've ever said that.
I didn't know that. I've heard you talk about this book, and I didn't know that part of it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm calling when I do polls at the shop now. I'm definitely saying Spider-Man every time. It's Spider-Man.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah,
The
the superior Spider-Man.
So by the time I'm ready to bring it out to the direct market, there's already going to be at least 2 on pull.
People are like, Spider-Man, let's go. I've been pulling that for years. Yeah, I have somebody who pulls all Spider-Mans. Multiple people. It doesn't matter what title, so I can't wait to just be like, bloop.
Do you not want Spider-Man?
You said you want all Spider-Mans.
I'm down. Let's do it.
And variants. There's some people who just buy everything.
Yes, waiting for the Artgerm Spider-Man variant.
Oh, man, yeah. Well, I'm really wanting the incentive Frizen. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
But,
I might have to get it with Boom then.
Yeah.
Well, one of the
It's
other
the
secrets
DC book.
David can find the hit artists before they're live. He's had everyone doing amazing things for Steak. He's had who's anybody now 4 years ago when he was doing that.
Hello, Ivan. Nice to meet you, too.
Hey, buddy. I know you.
I know you.
Oh, I like it that he corrected himself that Todd deserves a capital
T. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was not offended. But I appreciate it.
So, because you've had everybody, like, do
for
art
reals.
for you, like who's got to be a big name.
There-
like, it even
there's
like
a peach.
Prince
There's a
Seth-
peach on the front on the page for there. There's there's
I mean,
Francesca's hot right now. Everybody's getting her, from Rebel Girls to Joel. From I just started an anthology with her.
great. You were able to
cover.
get a cover from her.
from Francesca? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got lucky.
just one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, it's being part of the collector side too, and knowing what kind of covers I would like to collect.
Hmm.
And also, I mean, I follow certain hashtags on Instagram.
Sure.
So I see artists like who they might have 100 followers, but they did this
But it's like,
tag.
ooh,
So
hello.
I see their art and I follow them, and then I start, I'll stalk them for a while and see if they're like. One of the things too is you got to make sure that they're consistently putting out
Hmm.
good art, and it's not like
Yeah.
this one piece was the best piece I'm ever gonna do, and
But
nothing will ever come close.
it took them 80 hours to do that one, and then it's like it's not reasonable for anything else. Yeah.
Yep, I have a cover artist for Hospice, who she's a fine artist,
Mm.
and I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
loved her style so much. I reached out to her. She's like, "No, I've never done a comic, but it sounds awesome." And then I gave her the plot, and she's like, "Now I'm even more into it."
Nice.
And she usually charges by like the hour for the piece. And
Sure.
I said for a comic, for a comic cover, this is my budget. This is where I have to be. And she was like, "All right, I can work with that. And here's what we'll do." And like then, I guess she obsessed over the cover for like a week and was really
Nice.
into it. So she knocked it out
Cool.
of the park. Fantastic. And if you want to look her up, it's Pandora Young. She's on Instagram.
Sweet.
So, and then we'll reveal her cover here pretty soon since Hospice is going live
Yeah, it's coming quick.
for Travis
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, right?
Oh boy.
Tomorrow.
I got a couple of weeks on that one at least.
The rising sun will come tomorrow.
Yeah, so they say. I think we killed the world today, so it doesn't
Yes.
die tomorrow.
Exactly. I think you're right.
Bring back Spider-Man, quick.
The safest way.
Spider-Man. What?
So, next up, we had canceled.
Oh,
So
I have
Todd
to
and
pee.
I-
I have to pee, but I feel like I should at least come around because I want to talk about. There's an aspect of it that I'm
Just go pee. Travis and I will just sit here in silence until.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, let's
The sound of silence. I'll put that on in the background.
That's good radio.
This is embarrassing for you. This is the first time you can't make it the full hour. You normally at least can
I
make it the
know.
full hour.
I'm stressed.
All right. Well, we'll talk about. We'll get to canceled in a minute.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk to Ivan. Go pee, and we'll talk about Ivan's question.
Oh, there you go.
You go.
I'll put Spider-Man back on the background then.
All right. As an artist, I sometimes just want to wait. The algorithm shows my art, but sometimes I recover the faith and post something, trying to be consistent.
Now, Travis, you know Ivan, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He's a Cthulhu veteran now.
Yes.
'Cause he drew the Yellow King for me, and
Yeah. And he's actually been doing a lot of these shows, like for the Creator Hangout and stuff. He's been actively being part of it and doing some very cool stuff. So you've jumped back between direct market and Kickstarter. You and Charlie both, at the time. When you, where do you see we're going? I know that the direct market is kind of flooded with indies right now. We just talked about Kickstarter is being flooded with indies. Do you think like a new thing is going to appear to kind of like fill in this void of like everything's being too full to be seen, that you're going to have to go somewhere else pretty soon? Do you think we're going to that transition, or do you think we're just all going to fight for platform? We even fight harder now because we've got AI. People can be making comics and we don't even know. Like there's no budgetary restraints anymore.
yeah, I mean it's something that's interesting, and I'm watching closely myself. I actually last year, Charlie and I in the fall we started talking about the direct market does not look like it's going to be the place to be in in the near future, just because of the competition. You could see the economy was changing. First thing people do is they cut out what they consider the non-essentials, and for most comic readers, indies are the non-essentials. So
Right.
so we both were looking at more cultivating that crowdfunding market, and you could see it coming. It was had to be late last year or maybe the fall, where people like Declan Shalvey and Scott Snyder started showing up on Kickstarter too.
Right.
So it was the writing was on the wall that this was going to happen. It was just a matter of how long the transition would take. So really now you're not going to see the lesser quality books funding just because there was nothing else there. You
Right.
know, the algorithms on Kickstarter aren't going to help them as much because there's a lot more books that they have to get through.
Yeah.
It used to be if you, you know, if you had something in the action comic realm, you might have ended up in the backer update for Berserker.
Sure.
Now it's very unlikely because you're probably not going to pop up to the top on any of these feeds.
Well, even more so, the algorithm for Kickstarter is very smart.
Mm-hmm.
So those who are bucking the trends, those trends are sharing amongst each other. The other things that aren't trend wise, Kickstarter struggles to figure out where to put them.
Mm-hmm.
So like superhero is easy, but there's not a lot of it going on because there's so many of the trend. So it's really hard to figure out all that stuff.
Yep.
I also think that I don't think people like to talk about it, but I think that the Kickstarter community don't realize that they get an extra year of like goodwill and stuff because of the Substack. Substack pulled all those people who were going to Kickstarter
Mm-hmm.
away for a year because Substack gave them a ton of money, and they're like, "Why go to Kickstarter
Right.
if we've got a ton of money?" Well, that money has ran out. That grant is gone. So, where are they going to?
Yeah, and at the time we were all like, okay, well, let's see what happens because this is all VC money, and how long are they going to be able to pay these people with basically no income coming in?
Right. I don't know. That's an interesting subject matter of trying to figure out how all those trend and how those go together.
Yeah, I mean, getting in front of a trend is the way you really hit lightning in a bottle. So if you have that crystal ball, you're a step ahead of everyone.
Right. And then does that trend continue, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you can jump on that trend if it doesn't last, if it's just a fly in the past, you write vampires, you know that there's years where vampire is the thing,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's going to be the thing, and it will rotate and it'll be the thing again.
Right.
From Lost Boys to Twilight to Buffy, like it has its like, years where it's thing.
Right. But it's also something where if you have a compelling story, you can basically build that audience and overcome it and try to be timeless. But it
Sure.
may be very hard to do that from scratch.
Are we back?
I don't know. I would. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm here. I don't know. But you know what I do think? Just random thought. I really think this is gonna 2024 is gonna be a really big year for vampires.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Why do you think?
I hope
I
so.
was just listening while I was peeing.
Because of the Jessamy trade that you've been desperately
Yeah,
wanting.
as long as it's got a. Can there be a gatefold option so it has the connecting covers across the trade?
Oh, that would be really hard on a trade.
Uh huh.
But he didn't ask whether or not it was too hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it is short enough that we could do a paper version.
Sure. Ooh, a centerfold?
I don't know.
That'd be neat.
I
You don't see too many of those anymore.
I got a printer, but I would have to spend a lot of time figuring out how to insert something in the middle. That
Yeah, I want to do basically a whole show with you just showing off your printer and going through all the features because
Travis can come up for that.
that'd be fun because I'm super interested in that.
It's super exciting.
But you know what else is really exciting?
What's that?
David's Kickstarter going on right now.
Oh no, we got to go to the well. Let's go to canceled as a whole.
That's what
you and I
what I was segueing into.
Well, you and I are big Black Caravan fans. I think we need to talk about Black Caravan.
No, that's fine, but that's the segue is plugging that he has a Kickstarter, and then we talk about canceled.
Fair enough.
Let's put in a plug-in. Description.
Go ahead.
There's a link in the description. But yes, canceled #1, as you'll see right here.
Now you have to say the whole thing. Black Caravan premiere.
Near David Byrne's canceled.
Yes. Hey, that's your fault. For those of you who don't know, Todd designed the logo.
Hello. Yeah, I did. And it's pretty neat. Oh,
You're like, oh, I forgot.
I did. I did it twice.
You created the logo twice. You don't have to recreate it every time.
I did.
I know.
And every volume he will, because the next one will have a 3.
It'll have 3.
It'll be canceled.
Yeah, because you'll notice it is subtle. I feel like I did a pretty decent job making it not look, but it's the same, but it's different.
Right. I think it works, actually.
Yeah, I've already started thinking about the 3. I've been basically thinking about 3 since I finished 2.
You might as well just keep going.
I know. I've already got like up to like X.
Bringing it back to X, giving it to you.
Yes. David Byrne's going to give it to you. It's X. So yeah, canceled 1. Black Caravan premiere. David Byrne's canceled. What was the process? What came first? The canceled or the egg?
Well, actually, it was, believe it or not, going to be a 12-page short to submit to an anthology. The artist Pabliku man who did that first section, I started getting art from him because I had shelved it. He sent me a message. He's like, send me a script for something I can just draw. And I was like, okay. I'm like digging through my stuff. I was like, oh, this was fun. So I like went through and I kind of cleaned it up and I sent it over to him. He's like, this is great. And then he just starts sending me pages. And I'm like, these pages look awesome. And Joe Schmalke, obviously, as you know, was running Black Caravan. And we became good friends because of that. And I got the art and I just sent it to him because I like sending him art for his critique. He's like, this is great. Get me 20 plus pages and we'll publish it. I was like, it's like, oh, it's like I wasn't even thinking about that. I was like, this kid just asked for a project to work on, so I extended it. But he's like, oh, that's great, but I can only finish these pages that I worked on. I just took a huge project in my country that's a government grant, and I can't go any further. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to shift gears here, and basically, we went from being a story set in the 50s to, okay, I've only got 12 to 14 pages set in the 50s and one artist. How can I finish this off to 20 plus pages? So, all right, we've got a digital clown who gets sucked into the airwaves. I guess he's stuck there. So we can just jump forward in time. And I was like, well, what if I just do short little vignettes and bring a different artist on for each one and maybe match their style to their era? And it was one of those things where I was like, people are either going to love this or they're going to be like, this is really stupid. Why did this person do this? And let's cancel him. So
yeah,
luckily people liked it.
Yeah.
And it somewhat made sense. I mean, the plot is all in the first section, but then you, like a horror movie, basically you get to see the next episodes of the horror. And from there, it did very well. I couldn't believe how many retailers wanted to do exclusives. That was pretty fun.
There's a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, we ended up with, I think, 27 different variant covers.
Yeah. It's wild.
But yep. So
I mean, that's insane.
That's huge. Yeah.
As am I. So yeah, I mean, that was basically the,
I love the, necessity is the mother of invention. And that's that as a testament. Like, you don't want to scrap those pages.
right.
It's literally what, like, you fell into a project with those pages, and it was great because that's the first story in the book, right?
Yep.
Excellent. Like, it sets the tone, and you've got your story right there, like, and now you're filling out the pages, and it worked really well. I really dug it. I remember you describing it and me being like, okay, cool. And then you see it and you're like, oh, nice. This is really cool.
Yeah. A lot of times I'll distance myself from what I've written. And then, 6 months later, I'll come back and look at it. I was like, this actually does work. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I actually like this myself. 'Cause-
Yeah, you do the fresh eyes, like you
Yeah.
have to be away from it. Yeah,
But I have to be away from it because everything I write and complete at the time I think is garbage, and I hate myself for, you know, at least a couple weeks. I don't know if you're the same, Travis. But
I'm the same too. I hate everything.
Everything I do is perfect. My spelling and grammar,
Fuck
I
you.
am
Oh.
world renowned.
please don't mention your spelling and grammar.
Your after Heather has it, your spelling and grammar is excellent.
No, I sleep on everything. I sleep on it before I send it to anybody. So if I write a script tonight, like I'm going to sleep on it, look at it tomorrow, and then sometimes you won't get it for another couple of weeks after that because I need to sleep on it a few more times before
A fortnight of sleeping.
a fortnight of sleeping. And then, obviously, every time I think any writer, if you're not looking at your previous work and going, wow, I could have done that better, you have not evolved as a writer and you should probably stop.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to be a dick. You should probably stop
Yeah.
because you're not looking to grow.
Right.
If you think that everything you produce is perfect, so instead I try to look at the old things and be like, this is the best I can do at this time. In fact, my wife has been editing the Broke Down trade. We just finished it, like all the stuff to get it. And there's been a lot of changes she's done. And because she's like, I know these characters way better now. So when she looks at one, even my writing, she looks at my writing from back then. She's just like, these characters, I know these characters. I know how they think and they act because I've now lived with them for 150 something pages. We're gonna change these up, and we had to go through those conversations and stuff. And I think that's the way comics should evolve. In fact, I didn't even know Scott Snyder, because I follow his podcast. Every trade that you buy of any of the Batman books are different than the single issues because he goes back and redoes it every time.
Yeah.
Which is wild. I was like, you can't do that. And because I know that indie people do that, but I thought that was just us being indie going, we don't really have it all figured out. We got to make changes at the end. But no, all the pros are. Matt Rosenberg, the furthest place from here, apparently there's 7 new pages in the trade that aren't in the comic book because he felt he needed a different ending. Like, you can't do that.
That's interesting.
Unadvertised.
I trade weight that, so that's really interesting.
Right. So it's super interesting.
But
all these things.
That's super true. I mean, oh my God, I look at the first days of the comic burrito, and then I look at this show,
right,
and I'm like, I still hate everything that I've done for this show, but I can look at it. It is objectively better because I've grown and I've put work into the craft. If this looked the same as OG Burrito, I'd be very disappointed in myself. It should be better. You should be growing and evolving and changing, and it's important in any aspect of your life. If you're the same person as you were 10 years ago, you probably suck.
I've been perfect at writing since I was 11 years old. Thank you.
Well, we can't all be prodigies.
Yes, I don't need to grow or evolve. I roll out of bed looking this good.
Sure.
So canceled back. Getting back. So the canceled back is back. So you're back to doing it. How many issues is this new arc of canceled going to be?
It should be 3 issues. But if I need more, I'll do more. That's why I didn't do a one of. I try to never do that. I've kind of, like, even when we were at Scout, kind of warned on that on series that weren't completed already, because
you ruin it if it changes.
And you don't put it on the cover.
Frickin' Swamp Thing.
Yes, I have 6 issues that say 1 of 6, and then number 7 says 7 of 7.
Yeah.
I am about to do that myself for Voodoo Nations. I got to 4, and I was just like, "Yep, I need another issue."
Whoops!
Telling me for a while, you should listen to your editor. I think you can wrap this up in 1. I was like, I can wrap this up in 1.
I got this.
And to be fair, because I'm that type of guy, I did wrap it up in 1. And I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I should wrap it up in 2.
I'm going to wrap it up in 1, but then I do need a one shot at the end. for no reason.
We'll just call it the epilogue.
Yes.
That
The
has
Omega?
that has the ending in it.
Yeah, Voodoo Nation Omega. The actual ending. That's a good tagline. You can use that, Travis.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I may need that, so that's good. So speaking of, so you're live with that, so that's going on, and then after that you have Canceled with Me, which is
Hospice.
your first
Hospice?
Hospice. That's what we're doing together.
You doing Canceled? It's probably not
I
right.
am not. I try not to say the word canceled too much because I feel it's like an omen.
Yeah, you say it 3 times and it happens.
Right, it's like Bloody Mary.
Yeah, it's the Beetlejuice of the comics industry.
So you're doing Hospice, which is its own thing, which is
the
kind
kitty.
of cool. Right?
Yes, she's complaining.
Duh.
So what's that like?
I don't have
Doing a one shot, like that could be a one and done, or is it not going to be a one and done?
Well, that was
'Cause you always,
that was the initial intent on Canceled. So you never know. I mean, it's you see how things play out. If it's the whole thing is there another story to tell with the character? Right. I mean, the way we've set these up, I don't know how yours ends, but mine, there could be more. So
sure. I think any writer who's writing these things always plan to. They could be more.
It's gotta leave the door open.
The rest you got to pay me for, type of thing.
Your end page is the universe explodes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My novel, I wrote it with the intention of it being the one and done in the end, but like I have another half of the sequel written only because people were badgering me. They're like, we
this novel?
More. Yes, that novel
that I had queued up.
Look at that! Look at you are amazing.
The show's called Comic Book Level Up.
That's why I had it queued up, but I didn't push it.
Yeah. No, but it's the same thing. You know, you write something that you feel is a one-off.
Yeah.
That the characters. That's the thing. If you build good characters and create good characters, there's always a story to tell with them because people just want to spend time with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can finish that story, but that doesn't mean the characters are gone.
Unless you kill everybody, then it's.
But then there's prequels.
Exactly.
Even if you kill everybody, there's still story to be had.
Yep.
Sometimes some people put them in the middle of their books. They're prequels.
What? Why would you do such a thing?
Seems wild. But we have gone through your history, David. We have gone through your stuff. I know you've done a couple of things. Have you written? You wrote the 3 anthology pieces for me.
I was like, "There's some anthology work he's done that I'm aware of."
I've been all up in Cthulhu Invades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Besides Cthulhu, have you written any other anthologies?
Just the one that I will be working on for the fall or late fall, right? Early fall with Jerome.
Yes.
Oh,
Holiday
yeah.
Spirits.
You're doing Holiday Spirits? Nice.
Yes. Am I allowed to talk about it, Travis?
Yeah.
So it'll actually be a canceled piece for Holiday Spirits.
Sweet. Awesome. That's cool.
So I'm not going to go into any more details. But
sure.
as you can
That's
imagine,
nice.
with it being a holiday book,
yeah,
there will probably be a famous person or entity showing up in it.
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
The Gremlins, because
Yes.
of that episode of the Gremlins where it's happened on Christmas and it all gets crazy.
Yeah. Well, Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And the Gremlins watch a movie. It's Snow White, and Canceled comes.
Yep.
Gremlins, Gizmo, Canceled crossover. You hear?
Yep. And then Die Hard is the follow up. Die Hard with a canceled.
Canceled hard.
Canceled hard.
With a vengeance.
with a vengeance. With a holiday spirit.
Die harder.
Yes. Spirit harder.
Die hard another day before tomorrow ends.
Yes.
We'll just keep throwing words together.
Before Christmas ends. Well, I can't wait to see Dean Martin haunt me. I don't actually know anything that's going on, but that's what I want out of a holiday spirits. I want a crooner that hurts people.
So first thing I want to teach people, I've asked David Byrne 4 times to be an anthology, and 5 if you count hospice.
Sure.
And he said yes every time. So if you want David to write more, just ask him. That's the
Oh,
secret.
hey, David, I have this great idea.
And
It's about this spy who's an elk.
oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
No, and Travis knows the most important thing is to give me deadlines
Yeah, deadlines are good. Deadlines are good.
so that I can miss them, but still hit everything in time for publication.
So give you an early deadline.
No, I still won't. I mean, because I understand how Kickstarter works, I know when.
You're
things
like,
have to be
I know,
done.
I know when the actual deadline is.
Travis is
You're
like,
just on campaign. You don't need it all. You're fine.
Ivan, who's in the chat, can attest to this. Travis was just like, "Can you at least get me one colored panel?"
I just need a preview, man.
And I messaged Ivan. I was like, "Hey, everything's in black and white right now. Can you color just like one panel?" And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "That's a little weird, but yeah."
That's all I needed.
I love it.
So, but we have a series of questions that
We do.
ask everyone on the show.
Should I have been prepared for this?
No, it's better that you're not.
Oh boy.
Actually, you're not.
That's how I feel about we have to have that mentality.
All right. You ready for number 1,
I
David?
don't know. Maybe we'll find out.
What do you think makes you stand out in the comic book market?
I honestly think it's the fact that I've stepped into the different worlds of being a retailer, being a collector, being a creator, and I can associate with every end. So I like to think I bring unique stories, but I think most of us, if not all of us, do. So honestly, my ability to connect with all of the audiences, I think, is a little different than some people.
Nice. Yeah, we didn't even talk about like you doing stuff with Merck. You've done stuff with Merck, and I know you've worked with a couple of, maybe not even like officially, but you've advised for different publishers, and people have come for you for stuff like that are not even related.
Yeah, I mean, low key, I've edited books, even an autobiography, kids' books. Basically, if somebody comes to me and asks for help, I have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
But we got to know, was it Pat Shan's JoJo Siwa ghostwritten comic? Is that what you have to do?
No. I can't talk about that. There's NDAs.
NDA, yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
That's all I want to know. I want to know.
I can't answer that. I signed an NDA. That says everything. So while you're able to put on all those hats and you've kind of thrown yourself into the fire, which I really like. I think that says a lot. Like, you and Travis both are big on the, like, I want to do it. So I'm just going to go do it.
Yeah.
And
that's my biggest advice to any potential creator when they ask, "Well, how'd you get into it?" You just got to do it.
yeah.
Like, you can't talk about it. You have to do it. Don't
Yeah,
keep telling. Once take the aspiring off of your title. You're not an
Yeah.
aspiring writer. You're a writer because you're writing. You don't have to publish something to be a writer.
Yeah. And you both, yeah. and you both, like,
I'll fight you
are
on
a
that,
writer.
Travis.
Yeah, no, you are a writer. If you are writing, you are a writer.
Yes.
And as soon as you say aspire, I feel like that's Neil Gaiman's advice too, don't think less of yourself. There's no reason to. It's only doing yourself a disservice.
Right.
And I think that's huge. Like,
Yep.
you can know where you are in your journey, but there's no reason to short yourself and make you look less than.
Right. And the distinction I'll make, Travis, is you can be a writer and you can be a professional writer.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, but I would, if you really want to be a writer, if you're going to be a writer, drop the aspiring, because you're minimizing what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No reason to put the effort in if you're not going to own it.
Exactly. Aspiring writer is someone who's one day I'm going to actually write something.
Yeah. I'm not I don't want to dip I'm not even dipping my toe in quite yet. I'm just kind of thinking about it next to it.
I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So while you both are going headlong, and by doing that, you hit obstacles naturally. Like tis life to make things difficult. When that happens, what makes you keep going down this path? What makes you keep with this career?
It's a compulsion.
Nice.
I know I literally I've had periods,
love it.
I've had periods where like if I wasn't creating, I would get cranky.
Sure.
Like I have to be doing something. And when I was at Scout, I was doing production, I was doing a lot of other things, and it's like even if I don't write, if I'm out there creating graphics, if I'm putting together a book, I feel like I'm creating something that's going to go into the world. So that's what it keeps me sane. So to me, it literally is a compulsion. Like, and I feel like if you want to be a creator for the right reasons, you should have some sort of compulsion that you have to create.
Yeah, it's just that itch that it's the only way it can be scratched. Just putting it out there. It's great. So I mean, well, if what makes it easy to get through the difficult times is your desire to do it, that's about as good as it gets for a reason to like push through. Like it's just innate.
Right.
Like there isn't another option.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
It's a good sign.
That's how it is for me. I don't know about Travis. I mean, I think he does it for the millions that he's rolling in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's saving enough for the actual magnetic power from Magneto.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, he's just Scrooging it.
Yes.
I was not going to give a lot of details about this because I don't know if I should, but so there was a show that my wife was watching that had a similar plot to Part of Broke Down. I'm not going to say the show.
Sure.
And she pointed out to me, and I watched it. It was very, very similar. And I was telling my friends that story today because during holidays, it's Labor Day. We play Gloomhaven, which is a great board game I play every holiday. And I was telling them about it. And we were talking about it, and they're like, I was like, but I can't sue because it's not really enough, and it's just the way it works. And they were like, well, to sue, you'd have to show damages. And I was like, oh, I have enough comics to show you that they have damaged lots of things just by making them. Like showing damages on my comic production is not hard. I started out in
It's all damages.
It's all damages. So that was my joke for that. But so number 3, and I really want to know this answer from you, David, because David and I have different philosophies. Example, I've made it no secret that my goal is to work for Marvel and DC. I want to write my Superboys. I want to
John Kent,
the Superman, the superheroes,
the old capes.
Write all those little superheroes, the Spideys and the X-Men.
Yeah, the Spider-Mans.
The Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But David is really just happy creating things in his own IPs and doing that. David had a desire to be a publisher. If you've ever heard me, even though I have a publishing company, I actively tell you I do not want to be a publisher. I'm very bad at it. So, David, with all those out, what does leveling up in comics look like to you?
Leveling? I thought you were going to ask a different question. I was formulating an answer to something else.
Love it. He gave you the old knuckleball.
I mean, I guess honestly, to me, it's getting more consistent readers for each project. That's really what it is. Leveling up to me is every step you take, you have more of a following. So, the next one would be 1,000 backers on a campaign because I've been over 500. So I'm just gonna blow right by 750.
Whatever.
Let's go to 4 figures.
Yeah. Once you're at 5, the increment.
Yeah. Exactly.
Time to double.
That's not the way it works.
Well, from 250, hey, you went from 250 to 5. Right. It's doubling.
Yeah, there you go.
And then from 5 to 1,000, it's doubling.
So I'm
It's
a
that
failure
one. It's
until
that
then.
one guy's sequence that makes it just double each time.
Yeah, and then from 1,000, it's obviously a million.
Yeah, obviously,
So,
it's the
so
next
wait,
big one.
we're
A
all that
million
one,
backers.
Are we all that one guy on YouTube who's like, take it, you want it now or you want to double it, give it to the next person? Like
Yeah, yeah. You gonna double it? You hit 1,000. Yeah, I'm gonna take it. No,
I mean, I love blackjack. It's just always double down.
yeah, just double it.
You have 19, sir. I don't care. Double down.
Split it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's split it.
That's
You're
not the way
you're
this works.
splitting it on 19, sir.
Sir, your math, those cards.
That doesn't work.
What?
And why did you put down a hand-drawn 12 onto the table? It's very strange. So, okay. I'm just trying to formulate the last question because what normally would be was what your next level up to be, but you kind of just described what your next level up is. So I'm going to take the third question and go, what is, when you are leveled up, whatever that part in your career that you are feeling you can look back on and go, you know what? I've leveled up. Even though you have the compulsion, it's not like it will end. But what's a major level up look like to you? After the 1,000 backers, even if it's something personal, like it doesn't have to be purely through numbers or like monetary or anything. What's something that you want to see happen in your career that would be considered a major level up to you?
I think, and this is probably very common among creators, at least at the indie level, it would be not having to have a day job.
Yeah.
Literally only creating. That
Yeah.
would be the ultimate level up. And because I've always had good jobs, I've created a lifestyle for myself that makes that even harder.
Yep. Yeah, the bar's been raised
Yes,
where
the bar's
creating
at
is
a
even
point,
harder
yes.
for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. That's
So-
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's
But totally.
I mean, it's not a fancy or fun. It's just kind of the reality. That would be the ultimate level up.
Yeah, for sure. It being that's kind of the dream right there. Is just you're literally doing what you love and that's all you have to do. That's the thing you're beholden to your joy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good level up.
So I win? Did I win?
It's all right. Dude, I win. Yes, you've leveled up. Congratulations. Quit your job.
But which
Comic book
one?
level up is not liable for any fallout.
I love how we started this where David's like, the market's really tough right now.
I quit.
But I'm all in.
End of it.
Double down. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Really, this is just a secret show where I get people really encouraged so they quit their day
Yep.
job, get into comics, back out of comics so I can just stay steady.
Yep. Smart.
It's a long-
That's why if you guys have caught up with how Charlie's doing, it's really unfortunate that he just quit White Ash. It's kind of crazy. But Travis convinced him.
You don't need that.
Yeah. What are you doing over there, man?
That's not a level up for you, good sir.
That's a level down. Okay.
Yeah. Jeez. Look at yourself.
-1.
Yes.
But thank you, David.
Yes.
Thanks for coming. I'm excited to see what does 2024 look like.
Besides
it's been
the Gatefold Jessamy trade.
It's been a bit since you've been doing comics on the regular. You took a little break, after Scout and some stuff, but now you're back full form. I don't know if that's my fault. I don't know if that's your fault. I don't know if it's Todd's fault.
Sorry.
Totally.
Todd's like, I got canceled too. If I don't have a comic, what is this logo
What
for?
is this?
It's all Todd. I mean, it's
Yep.
Todd's fault.
I'm sorry, man. We've hashed it out. We're cool now, but I'm sorry.
So what does this look like for you the next year? Because I'd love to hear that from you. What's the 2024?
What's the map?
The current plan would be do the Jessamy trade, which may be December, but it may fall into January-ish.
Right on that edge.
Followed up immediately by stake number. We'll call it Volume 2, Number 1.
Okay, I was wondering where's the numbering?
The 7 behind it.
Nice. Yep, the legacy numbering.
Yes, we'll do some legacy numbering, but we'll name the volumes.
Sweet.
Then there will be canceled next year.
There will be canceled.
Travis has given us a cushion. If he's ever going to do Cthulhu, it won't be next year, I don't think.
There is more Cthulhu, but it's not.
I say it's not 2024.
However,
right?
your due date is next year.
Yeah.
We've already talked, and if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to disown you.
Give me what I want.
My wife says I have to give you what you want too, and I think that's unfair because
my wife also said that, but I didn't really understand.
You guys don't know how far my reach is. My fingers go all the way to Michigan.
Yeah, it's very impressive. What? Okay.
But there may be a couple of other things too that'll
sweet. Some new IPs or just things that were not
probably not
some irons
new, yeah. Just maybe some crossovers, who knows.
Sweet. Cthulhu invades Steak, let's go.
I don't think we'll do that one. Travis owns Cthulhu, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I figured it would be a merger.
Whatever. Cthulhu invades Steak. I already wrote the pitch, but whatever. That's
fine.
You hit a nerve. Todd.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't know I was. Our wives didn't talk. I didn't know that was the thing.
I thought it was supposed to be just Cthulhu eats steak.
Ooh.
That is one. Yeah, that's a tier.
Nice. That's a tier.
Just sits around eating steak, having a good time.
It's just below the touching one.
But
so much touching.
I think that's our show.
Is it?
I think so.
I don't know how I feel about that being the last thing that's said, but okay.
I think it is. I think
I'll switch it up a little bit by going, you can check out David's stuff in the Kickstarter, which is still live currently, is in the description. Go check that out. Go back Steak. So, Canceled. We talked Steak way too much. Canceled 2, number 1, is in Kickstarter. It is going to be awesome. It's right there in the description, as is David's website, as is David on X. It's a video that I have of David on X. It's a link to that. And also his Twitter bio is also down there. But yeah, go check out all those things. Go back, get that digital or get that touching pledge. Either one, you're going to have a good time.
Be canceled with me because I am very close to being canceled.
Skirting that edge.
I have a lot of questions. I'm not going to ask them, but I have a lot of
questions. Well, we need a reason to have David on again, so that's good.
He's mostly questioning my judgment.
Sure. Yeah, that can be comic book level down.
I think it's more personal life.
Sure. Comic book, how you doing?
No, really, how are you?
That's our show.
Really?
But thank you, David. David is one of my dear friends in the industry. David and I have known each other for a long time. We talk probably once a week, not every week, but the weeks that we do talk, it's like 4 or 5 times, and then we won't talk for like 3. And
it gets to be a bit much.
So it's a friend.
Well, let's not go there, Tom.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cross any bounds.
Yeah,
it's a familiar acquaintance.
Let's ease up on that talk, okay?
Okay. Right. You guys know each other. Got it.
We're expiring friends.
Oh, you're aspiring friends. I love that. I want to use expiring or aspiring.
Aspiring. I like aspiring writers.
Sure, yeah.
These going to claim we're friends. We're aspiring to be friends.
Well, to both of you and to everyone out there, thank you for being my aspiring friend. And I hope you all enjoyed leveling up with David Byrne. Thank you, David.
Yes, thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Yes, of course.
You.
We just leveled up.
We did. Play the outro.
All right.